Hey, what's going on YouTube? Marine X back at it again. EDC, everyday carry, has become incredibly popular. Now, absentmindedly, without thinking about it, you've always had an EDC, whether that is your keys, your purse, flashlights, sunglasses, wallets, whatever you need to get yourself from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. But now a lot of solutions have been presented to us to not only carry stuff on our bodies, which is I would say will be tier one, the things that you actually carry on you, to now tier two, which are the things that you carry in pouches, bags, etc. These are three of my favorite EDC pouches. This is not an all-inclusive list. Yes, there are others. The Garage Build, the Roaring Fire. These are the ones that I have my hands on. I've had plenty of others. I've had some by Spanker, some other knockoffs on Amazon. These are the three that keep on rising to the top, that I find myself coming back to more often than not. We have in front of us the Supreme Small Zip Pouch, or the Small Zip Utility Pouch, the Nutsack Admin Pouch, and the Data Crew Water Slider. Now, the Data Crew Water Slider is the most popular out of all of these. Each have their pros and cons, and we're gonna talk about them each. None of these are any particular order. So you can kind of see the size comparison with each of them, the Data Crew being the smallest, the Nutsack pouch being obviously the biggest, but they all have their pros and cons. I've also kitted all of these out in different ways so I can give you an idea what you may or may not want to do with these things. It's going to totally be up to you. First, let's start with the Supreme Small Zip Pouch. The Supreme Small Zip Pouch, this thing's coming in at 4 inches across, 6.5 inches in height, and they don't tell you the actual thickness of this thing, but this only is about 1.5 inches. I have this thing fully kitted out, and even fully kitted out, it's barely 1.5 inches. It's super slim, all sorts of functionality in this thing. Things I don't like about it, things I do. First off, the pull tabs are a little bit sloppy. I wish they had some type of bounding or leather or something like that. They're kind of just all over the place, and it's left up to you to decide how you want it. You can always take this off and use your own, but I'm not a big fan of that. When this thing initially came out, it came out in the fall of 2019 with one of their drops. It was 30 bucks. Now you can find these between $56 and $100, depending on the color you want. They come in camo or woodland, black, teal, and pink. They do have a huge Supreme logo on the very back. If you're not a fan of that, then you might want to go somewhere else because this is very big and pronounced, but you can cover that up with either a piece of paper, or if you stick a phone inside of there, you can maybe keep a Metro card or something that needs to have easy access that you can show an ID or scan a barcode. Also, this thing is made of 630D Corduro nylon fabric, so very well made. It has YKK zippers on every single zipper. I'm not sure which kind of YKK zippers. They do seem to be self-correcting. I have basically tried to stuff this as much as possible, and kind of like a burrito, it just keeps correcting itself even if you put too many items inside of this thing. Zip pouch in the front. This is where I keep all my important cards, stuff like that. Listen, the full video on this thing, I will link up down below. You can check out everything I have in this thing and how I have it kitted out. So if you look inside of this thing, you got to think about the fact that this is a full opening mechanism. It collapses back on itself, kind of a clamshell style opening, which makes accessibility of the items inside really good. And if you want to keep some things hidden or palmed, you can keep those hidden without people being able to see one side or the other. So this has a bunch of slip pockets at the front. These all perfectly fit credit card size cards. I think that this was initially designed to be a wallet. So I do keep some critical debit cards in here, my VA card. And then I have this slip pouch, slip pocket here in the front, full of items such as a pry bar, you know, some cash, keys, just things that I use quite often. Now, the very back of this thing is just one large slip pocket, which actually goes down and doesn't have a bottom, which allows for you to put a little bit longer items such as this Boker scalpel here, which would normally not fit if it didn't necessarily have that extra wiggle room. I did get this on StockX. I think I paid $85 for it. So that's something to think about, is as you stuff this thing and as you kit this thing out, how much is it gonna hold up? It's holding up pretty well for me, but you do wanna just be careful how cautious you pull this in and out of bags, but it's so thin. All right, next we have the Nutsack Admin Pouch. This is by Nutsack, and one thing I like about this thing is that there are plenty of options for storage. Molly webbing on the front, Molly webbing on the back. They include the straps so that you can hook this to different items, or you can put on your own molly straps if you want to. You can move these however you see fit. One more item in one more area molly in the back, so you can still do more storage. This is made of wax canvas, meaning this is cotton dipped in wax. Gives it a very lovely aging on this thing. I've had this for 2 years now and it looks so fantastic. Overall, the pouch is pretty decent in size. I mean, this thing is 4.5 inches wide by 6.5 inches in length. And when it's fully empty, it is 1.5 inches and it's still relatively small. Look at this, fully kitted out with how I would normally carry this thing. Just like the Supreme pouch, it is very small, maybe even smaller than the Supreme pouch, and the Supreme pouch has similar items inside of it. That is a pro as well. You're not going to be sticking this in your back pocket. 89 bucks gets you this thing. It comes in black as well. So let's talk about this front area. So full clamshell, you can even fold this back just like the Supreme pouch. 3 slip pockets, each of them are the exact same size, so that has to be cautious to think about how you're going to kit this thing out. You're not going to be able to really stretch it out. It has some really good stitching in it, meaning you're not going to force it to be any bigger than it is. Very well made. The other side is all molly or elastic banding on it. So you got the molly paneling. You can put whatever you want to put in this thing, and it is pretty decent. I mean, it doesn't do anything extra, just kind of gets the job done. That's why I'm a big fan of this pouch. However, this is once again one of those pouches where it's not going to have any loop paneling. It also doesn't have anywhere to really put your credit card. So if you want to use this as a one and done solution, this might not be for you. You're going to end up doing stuff like just simply setting items in the pouch, and you may not be a big fan of that. So if you want to be able to use this as a wallet, maybe carry your car keys, carry some cash, not the biggest solution for it. And it's incredibly big. You're not going to fit this in your back pocket. You're going to have to wear some dad cargo pants or something like that if you want to use this on your body. Going to one of the most popular EDC pouches on the market. This is the Data Crew What a Slider. This is the camo variant, I think the 4th wave specifically. This is 3.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and it's 2 inches when empty. So you have to think about that. Are you going to be okay with having it relatively thick boy before you put anything inside? I have this kitted out as a med kit, but it has a lot of things about it that the other pouches do not have. So this has a front slip pocket, very subtle Data Crew logo on the front of this thing. And in here, you can put some critical cards, or in here, I just have a couple of Band-Aids. The very back of this pouch, unlike the other ones, has an entire panel of loop paneling. So if you anything with a hook back, you can do a little bit of hook and loop. So if you have your REs or patches, you can put all that stuff here. It's gonna let you make this more of your own. You're not having to clip anything to it or glue anything to it. You're just able to change this out as much as you like. The pull tabs themselves also have a very, very capable YKK number 5 coated coil zippers. They're self-correcting. So if you overstuff this thing, which I've done plenty of times, these zippers correct themselves as you unzip and zip those items up. I'm a big fan of that. Pouch itself is pretty handy. It is very pocketable, but your pocket will be bulky, would bulge out a little bit. Depends on how you have this thing kitted. Very large elastic band here, and I have a hero clip on there and a couple safety pins. This is an ouchie boo boo kit, so this does have med items inside. This thing comes in at $60 whenever you can get your hand on it. That is a con of this thing. This thing sells out incredibly fast. So if you do want to get it, you got to sign up for their email. Make sure you give them some information that you can actually maybe get your hands on this thing. Jumping inside of this thing, we do have some slip pouches over here. So first off, this is what it looks like fully kitted out. Let me get that in your face so you can kind of just see, if you kit this thing out, how packed it's going to be and how small of the items are going to be compared to one of these other pouches. So we'll take all this stuff out just to kind of let you see what it looks like. You can see that we do have nothing but slip pockets, no zippers on the inside, no molly webbing. This is really going to be up to you how you use them, but you're going to be very limited on the items that you can put inside and some items that need to be secured in certain ways. Very large slip pocket back here with no divider, 2 slip pockets up here, which has a divider right down the middle. This has a smaller zip pocket up here in the front, with a little bit of loop paneling on the front. Shout out to my boy Everyday Minimalist for giving me the RE. And then another large slip pocket in the back. So there's not a ton of character on the inside of this pouch. Character meaning, you know, ways to be able to store different things. But I do like that loop paneling. One more way for you to put in more REs. This has a full opening mechanism, just like the other pouches. My hero clips in the way a little bit, but it does open up fully. They also have one more little hole here. I'm not really sure what that's for. I think Data Crew is going to be doing with something with that in the future. This is made in the USA. So we do have the Nutsack and the Data Crew both being made in the USA. You have to think about how are you going to kit these things out. You know, this is kitted out as a med kit. The Supreme pouch is more kitted out for an everyday carry wallet elimination type of kit. That's how I have that designed. And then we have the Nutsack pouch, which is really a more of a backpack style of kit. This is the type of pouch when it comes to the Nutsack that I would literally just throw in my bag, and I don't intend to touch these items very often. I may not need that multi-tool very often, or the Allen keys. So comment down below, which one is your favorite? Which one would you consider? I have just Pouch City all over the place. Are any of these something that you would really want? I would love to know with your comments down below. If this is your first time stopping by, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you a part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.